Hello everyone, I'm Christina Ortega, and today I will be presenting some information on language and literacy development. Educating students properly on language is very important because language is how people communicate with one another to build relationships or community. Due to the importance of language, ensuring that we as educators understand all components fully allows us to teach our students language properly. These components are known as linguistics, and students must understand linguistics in order to begin learning how to read and write. I like to look at language as a sort of umbrella, and now we're going to go over everything that falls under. So the first thing I'd like to discuss is phonology. Phonology is the process of how speech sounds are used in a spoken language. So each sound is known as a phoneme, which is an individual sound that letters represent. An example of phonology would be exploring words that rhymed. When looking at the words hat and cat, by changing the H sound to a C sound, k, now changes the entire meaning of the word. This is directly applied to literacy development because when phonemes are put together in different ways, they create words which have meaning. Next, I'd like to talk about morphology. This is the study of words and their individual parts. So, these parts of words are known as morphemes, and they create different meanings by combining with each other. An example of morphology would be if you take the word hat and added an S to the end of it, it would change the meaning of the word from a singular hat to multiple hats. This is applied to development of literacy because it demonstrates that words can create a different meaning by simply adding a sound or group of sounds to that word, known as morphemes. Now we're going to look a little deeper into the term syntax. So this is the study of sentence structure and the rules that are applied to it. This is applied in literacy development because the way words are positioned within a sentence is really important to form not only a correct sentence, but an understandable sentence. For example, saying the girl kicked the ball compared to the ball girl that kicked. Depending on where the words are in that sentence can really determine if it's understandable or not. Now we're going to dive into semantics. So this is individually relating to the meaning of a language. Semantics is directly applied to literacy development because the way an individual interprets the meaning of a word can change the meaning of a phrase or a sentence. So for example, when using the word blue, depending on the context, it can be used as either a color, I'm using the blue crayon, or a feeling, I'm feeling blue, meaning I'm feeling sad. So if you were to tell a child, I'm feeling blue, and they didn't understand the semantics of it, they might not understand and just bring you a blue crayon thinking you're feeling like using the color blue, rather than you describing how you're feeling, which is sad. This goes right into the term pragmatics. So pragmatics, these are the rules in language that take place during social situations in context. So these are important in language development because words can have both a literal meaning as well as an unspoken meaning that may be dependent on a social situation. For example, if you say, "Can you crack the window? I'm hot." Someone who does not understand your social situation might assume you mean to literally crack the window and break it rather than opening it up a little bit. So overall, all of these components of linguistics are very important to all students, including those with exceptionalities. For any student with an exceptionality, it is imperative that we as educators provide the right type of support to ensure that that child receives a successful education. In order to provide the correct support, we must fully understand each of the linguistic components to ensure that we are assisting, modifying curriculum, or providing individualized support on the right component of linguistics. As educators, we should always be the expert in what we are teaching, and in order to successfully teach something as important as literacy, we must understand it ourselves, as each component has a direct impact on that child's learning within literacy. So lastly, I would just like to discuss some instructional strategies to support language and literacy development in your classroom. The first strategy is to clap out syllables. This activity allows children to hear and notice that words have different parts and can enhance their phonological awareness. Another activity is to sing songs with rhyming words or to even play games with rhyming words. This allows students to also understand the breakdown of words and the sounds each make while working on fluency as well. Lastly, the final activity would be reading to a child. This really allows children to hear the correct pronunciation of words and hear your fluency as you read so that they can model that when they begin to read on their own. That is all for my presentation today. Thank you so much for listening.